Welcome to the Bite-Sized Tech News TLDR podcast. Today, we are tearing into a massive, frankly, profound shift in the world of paid search.
Shift. Yeah.
It really is. We're doing a deep dive into a stack of intense, highly technical research, including this crucial new video presentation. It's titled, Google Ads Runs on Intent, the End of the Keyword Era. And our mission for this deep dive is clear. We are going to extract the ultimate bottom line for you.
Right, because nobody has time for the fluff.
Exactly. We are bringing a fast-paced, high-energy approach to this because the immediate productivity and well, maybe not security, but definitely the revenue implications for anyone running digital ad campaigns are just too urgent. We're getting straight to the facts.
And the facts are that the foundation of Google Ads has completely moved away from the exact keywords we all know and love. It's now built entirely around something much more complex, user intent.
So if you are a professional managing ad spend, or even a business owner just trying to figure out where your marketing budget is disappearing to every month, your day-to-day workflow is undergoing a seismic transformation.
It's an earthquake.
Yeah. So let me just ask you this right out of the gate. Are your campaigns built on a blueprint that stopped working 12 months ago?
That is the single most important question you need to be asking yourself right now when you open your ad accounts.
Yeah.
Because the way the vast majority of us learned how to navigate pay-per-click advertising, PPC, it's rapidly becoming a historical artifact.
A relic.
Exactly. The source material we're unpacking today delivers a really blunt, undeniable wake-up call to the entire industry. I'm just going to quote it directly here. If you're still building everything around keywords, you're already playing catch-up.
Wow, playing catch-up. That hurts to hear if you've spent the last decade mastering this stuff.
Oh, it stings. But we aren't just talking about, like, a minor algorithm update or some shiny new feature rollout. The game hasn't just evolved. The core rules of physics within the platform have totally changed. The foundation of the system has shifted from exact, typed keywords to inferred user intent, driven by incredibly advanced artificial intelligence.
Okay, I want to make sure we map out exactly where we are heading with this because there is a lot of ground to cover and we need to make it incredibly actionable for you. First, we are going to dismantle that outdated blueprint.
Tear it down.
Right. We need to explore why the old way of doing things, the methods that probably feel like comfortable muscle memory to you right now, why that's actively hurting your productivity and your return on investment. And then once we clear out that old logic, we're going to look under the hood of Google's new AI engine. We have to understand the actual mechanics of how it operates because it is no longer just matching words on a page.
Not at all.
After that, we are moving into the execution phase, the intent-first playbook. This includes how you literally need to change the copy you write on your ads and your landing pages.
The words actually matter differently now.
Yeah. And finally, we will navigate the real-world implementation challenges. This transition is definitely not without serious friction and will give you the exact completely overwhelming your system or setting your budget on fire.
And that roadmap is critical because the industry is in this massive state of cognitive dissonance right now. People know things are changing, but they are desperately clinging to the old methods.
It's scary to let go.
It is. And when we talk about that outdated blueprint, what's so fascinating is how deeply ingrained it is in the digital marketing psyche. For anyone who's been doing TPC for more than a few years, the old process is pure, undeniable muscle memory.
Oh, absolutely. Let's paint a picture of what that muscle memory looks like, because I know you've lived this and I know our listeners have lived this. In the old days, which, let's be honest, really wasn't that long ago, you started a campaign by pulling massive, exhaustive keyword lists.
Well, the spreadsheets.
The endless spreadsheets. You'd use keyword planner tools, you'd scrape competitor sites, and you'd export these gigantic documents containing thousands and thousands of specific search terms.
Exactly. And then the real manual labor began. You would spend hours, sometimes days, just stressing over your match types. You'd have your broad match modifiers, your phrase match types wrapped in those little quotation marks.
The exact match types wrapped in brackets.
Yes. You were tweaking punctuation to make sure you had absolute granular control over every single trigger. And finally, you would organize all of this into super tight, incredibly granular ad groups. The industry standard was the SCAG.
The single keyword ad group.
The SCAG. You would have one ad group dedicated to the exact phrase, bracket, by blue running shoes, bracket,
It felt like precision engineering. It felt like you were a sniper.
That's a great way to put it.
You knew exactly which word triggered which ad, and you could adjust your bid by 10 cents on a specific phrase to win the auction. It was what every single blog, textbook, and certification course taught us to do. But here is the critical pivot we have to make today. Why is sticking to that comfort zone suddenly a massive liability?
Right.
If it worked so well for a decade, why is it now actively harming your revenue and wasting your time?
It's become a liability because the search environment that specific workflow was designed to navigate simply does not exist anymore. It's completely gone.
It just vanished.
Yeah. It's like trying to use a beautifully detailed street map from 1950 to navigate a modern city. The roads have changed, the highways are different, and your vintage map is literally leading you into a brick wall. Sticking to that granular, highly manual method wastes immense productivity. You are spending hours optimizing for a mechanical matching system that the platform has largely abandoned.
That is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of data-driven marketers. But let's dig into the why behind that. When you say the system has been abandoned, you mean the literal way Google connects a user to an ad has fundamentally changed.
Correct. By micromanaging those massive keyword lists, you are inherently limiting your reach. You're boxing yourself into exact phrasing. You're telling the system, only show my ad if the user types these exact words in this exact order.
Which used to be best practice.
It used to be. But meanwhile, the AI driving the platform today is trying to cast a wider, smarter net. It's trying to find users based on what they actually want, regardless of the specific, messy, often unpredictable words they happen to type into the search bar. When you force the system to adhere to your strict keyword lists, you are essentially handcuffing the AI.
So wait, I want to play devil's advocate here because if I'm listening to this and I have an account with 10,000 active keywords, I am starting to panic. The source video is literally titled "The End of the Keyword Era." Does this mean I'm supposed to log in right now, highlight all my keyword lists, and hit delete? Because that feels incredibly reckless.
No, absolutely do not do that. Please don't do that. And this is a crucial nuance that the source material goes out of its way to clarify. Keywords are not dead.
Okay, phew.
They are not entirely useless, and you do not throw them away. But their role within the ecosystem has been drastically demoted.
Okay, clarify that demotion for us. What is their new job description?
Think of it through an architectural lens.
Right.
For the last 15 years, keywords were the architect of your campaign. They dictated the entire structure. They drew the blueprints, they poured the foundation, they determined the size and shape of every single ad group.
If a keyword wasn't in the blueprint, the ad didn't run.
Exactly. Now, under the new AI-driven system, keywords have been demoted to merely being one of the building materials.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. They are the bricks, but they aren't drawing the blueprints anymore.
Precisely. They are just one signal among many. When you input a keyword now, you're essentially giving the AI a hint. You're saying, hey, I'm looking for customers in this general neighborhood. Use this word as a starting point to understand my business.
A starting point.
Yeah.
Not the finish line.
Right. Because the AI is going to take that brick and combine it with 100 other signals. It looks at the user's search history, their location, the time of day, the context of their previous clicks. It takes all of that to decide whether to show your ad. The keyword is no longer the sole dictator of the auction.
The immediate productivity impact here for your daily workflow is profound. As a professional, you have to elevate your perspective. You need to stop micromanaging the granular spreadsheets. If you are spending 3 hours a week analyzing the performance difference between the plural and singular version of a keyword,
You're completely wasting your time.
exactly. You have to move away from the micro-level data entry and zoom out to the broader business strategy.
And zooming out means acknowledging that the core matching engine has been replaced. We're moving away from a mechanical matching system where word A, typed of the user, directly equals ad A, served by the advertiser. That was the old engine.
Which brings us perfectly to the next major phase of our deep dive. If keywords aren't the blueprint anymore, what actually is? We need to look under the hood of Google's new AI engine. What is replacing that mechanical word A equals ad A system?
The new core of the system is conversational AI. And we need to be very clear about what that means in the context of an ad auction. The option that a millisecond process that decides whose ad gets shown at the top of the page is no longer triggered by the exact string of characters typed into a search bar.
So what triggers it?
It's triggered by what Google's AI infers the user actually needs. We have moved to a highly conversational, fluid system where the intent behind the search is the primary currency, not the spelling of the search itself.
This is where the source material gets intensely interesting and highly technical. They introduce a vital concept to explain how this inference actually functions in real time. The term they use is query fan out. Break down the mechanics of this for us, because this is the invisible magic happening behind the scenes that every single advertiser needs to understand.
Query fan out is an incredibly sophisticated process, and understanding it is key to letting go of your old keyword lists. Under the old mechanical system, a user types one long, complex search, say a 5-word sentence. The search engine looks for an advertiser bidding on a match for that exact 5-word sentence. It's a one-to-one relationship.
Right. And if I didn't bid on that specific 5-word sentence, my ad doesn't show, even if I sell exactly what they are looking for.
Exactly. You miss out completely. But with query fan out, the process is entirely different. When a user types a complex question, the AI intercepts it before the auction even happens. It takes that complex question and instantly breaks it apart into multiple smaller sub-questions and related concepts. It essentially fans the single query out into a dozen different related searches.
Give us a concrete idea of the scale here. It isn't just looking for synonyms, right? Like running shoes versus jogging sneakers.
No, it is far deeper than synonyms. It's semantic mapping. It runs simultaneous, parallel searches for all of those sub-questions at the exact same time. It looks at historical data to see what other people who asked similar questions eventually clicked on. It looks at the content of millions of landing pages.
All in milliseconds.
All in milliseconds.
Oh.
Finally, it takes all the massive amounts of data it gathered from those parallel searches and pieces it back together to form a synthesized, complete understanding of the user's actual problem. It is doing the heavy lifting of contextualizing the human need.
To bring this out of the abstract, the source provides an absolutely brilliant real-world anecdote that clarifies this entire concept. Let's talk about the green pool example, because this completely changed how I view search intent.
It's a perfect illustration.
Picture the scenario. A homeowner walks into their backyard, sees their swimming pool looks like a swamp, and they pull out their phone. They go to Google and type, "Why is my pool green?" Now, on the surface, look at the mechanics of those words. This is a purely informational question. They are not typing "buy pool chemicals." They are not typing "pool cleaning service near me." They are not in a shopping mindset. They are in a troubleshooting mindset.
And that distinction is vital. Under the old keyword architect model, you, as a retailer selling pool supplies, would likely never bid on the phrase, "Why is my pool green?"
Right, because my boss would look at the spreadsheet and say, "Why are we spending money on people looking for science answers? We need to spend money on people ready to buy our algaecide." You might only bid on that if you were running a blog trying to get ad revenue from traffic, because there is no explicit commercial intent in those words.
But the AI engine, utilizing query fan out, looks at that search entirely differently now. It doesn't just read the words. It detects the underlying real-world problem. The AI infers a future commercial need.
It predicts what's going to happen next.
Exactly. It analyzes the query and concludes, a green pool means an algae problem. An algae problem cannot be fixed with knowledge alone. The user is inevitably going to need to buy chemicals, a new filter, or hire a professional to fix this physical problem.
So the AI bridges the gap. The result is that the system serves up ads for pool cleaning supplies, algaecide, and local pool services right there on the informational search results page. It brilliantly connects an informational query to a commercial solution. It completely bypasses the traditional customer journey step, where the user has to read an article, figure out the chemical they need, go back to Google, and type in that specific chemical name.
And if we step back and look at the broader implications of this, the impact for you as an advertiser is massive. It fundamentally alters the geometry of your sales funnel. It means your ads can now reach customers significantly earlier in their decision-making process, well before they explicitly type out a product name.
Because the AI is anticipating their need based on their context, it is almost predictive.
Exactly. This drastically expands your potential addressable market on search. You are no longer waiting passively at the very bottom of the funnel, fighting a bloody bidding war over the exact keyword, buy algaecide, with 10 other competitors. You are catching the consumer at the exact moment they realize they have a problem, before they even know what the solution is called.
That is a total paradigm shift for your reach. But, and this is the massive but that we have to address today, a paradigm shift in reach demands a total paradigm shift in how you build your campaigns. You cannot catch the green pool searcher using a campaign designed for the buy algaecide searcher. Which leads us directly into the core execution phase of our deep dive, the intent-first playbook and changing your copy.
This is where theory meets daily practice. We have to make a major mental pivot here. For years, the industry mantra was about answering the what. What is the user typing? What product do I sell? Now it is no longer good enough to know what they're typing. You have to build your entire strategy around why they're searching.
So how do you actually do that? How do you map a campaign to the why?
You have to start interrogating your own business goals and matching them to human behavior before you touch a single setting in Google Ads. You need to ask deeper questions. What is the user's actual real-world problem in this moment? Are they sitting on their couch casually researching a topic for next year, or are they standing in their backyard holding a credit card, desperate for a fix right now?
Right.
To borrow a concept from product development, what job are they actually hiring your product or service to do for them?
Let's contextualize that. If you sell running shoes, the what is a blue foam shoe, but the job they are hiring that shoe to do might be allow me to train for a marathon without my knees swelling up.
Exactly. And this isn't just high-level strategic theory. This mental shift must dictate the literal words you put on the page and in your ad copy. Under the old blueprint, the best practice was highly mechanical. You'd write ad copy that essentially just mirrored the search term to prove relevance. If the user's keyword was cheap blue running shoes, your headline was cheap blue running shoes.
Right. We use tools like dynamic keyword insertion to automatically swap the user's exact search term right into our headline. It was a neat trick to boost click-through rates. Looking for exact search term here. Buy it now.
But you can no longer rely on just mirroring the search term. Why? Because as we learned with the green pool example, the user might not have even typed the name of your product.
Yes, this is the trap. If the user typed, how to train for a marathon with bad knees, and the AI used query fan out to infer that they desperately need your highly cushioned running shoes, serving them an ad with a headline that just says highly cushioned running shoes creates a massive cognitive disconnect.
It creates a disconnect because you're answering an emotional, problem-based query with a sterile product feature. The user's worried about their joints, and you are shouting about foam density. You must speak directly with empathy to the user's inferred goal and their pain point. Your ad headline needs to say, protect your knees on long runs, or marathon training without the joint pain. It is a much more empathetic, human, and frankly, far more effective approach to copywriting. You're selling the solution, not the widget.
Okay, that makes perfect sense for the creative side. Let's get into the technical settings. The source material highlights a highly practical playbook. They offer a framework of 3 key shifts you have to make in your day-to-day workflow to align with this new AI engine. Let's tackle the first shift, eligibility and match types.
For eligibility, you need to systematically move away from that tight, restrictive control we talked about earlier. You have to let go of the safety blanket of relying entirely on exact match and phrase match. The new playbook dictates that you must embrace broad match. Furthermore, you need to start leveraging fully automated campaign types like Performance Max, which the industry calls PMX.
Now, I have to stop you there. Because for a seasoned PPC manager, telling them to switch everything to broad match is like telling a skydiver to pack their own parachute blindfolded. Historically, broad match was a great way to blow your budget on completely irrelevant clicks. How does the source justify taking that risk now?
It is a totally valid fear based on historical trauma. I get it. But you have to remember that the engine powering broad match today is not the engine from 2018. The AI is significantly smarter. More importantly, you have to give the AI the freedom and the operational room to go out and find that inferred intent we discussed.
If you box it in, it can't fan out.
Right. If you lock your campaigns down with strict exact match settings, you are effectively paralyzing the AI's ability to use query fan out on your behalf. You're telling the system, do not go look for the green pool guy. Only look for the algae side guy. You forfeit the biggest advantage the platform now offers. Handing over control to PMX feels terrifying, but you are trading mechanical control for algorithmic scale.
Okay, so the first shift is loosening the reins on eligibility. The second key shift detailed in the playbook addresses landing pages, and this ties right back to our discussion about ad copy. The playbook states that you have to stop merely listing product features on the pages you send traffic to. You have to stop just talking about the what.
Precisely. If your ad copy successfully speaks to the why, your landing page cannot revert back to a sterile spec sheet. Your landing pages must seamlessly continue explaining the solution. You have to aggressively focus on the why and the how. If the AI is bringing you users based on their underlying problems, your landing page better immediately validate that you understand their problem and clearly demonstrate how you solve it.
Give me an example of a bad landing page versus a good one in this new era.
A bad landing page, for our shoe example, just has a big picture of the shoe, a price tag, and bullet points about the proprietary foam and the heel draw measurement. A good landing page, designed for intent, has a headline that says "Engineered for Joint Relief." It features a video of a runner explaining how the shoes help their knee pain. It has a section detailing the science of impact absorption. It directly addresses the problem the AI inferred.
It connects the dots for the user. So we've loosened our match types and we've rewritten our landing pages to focus on solutions. The third key shift in the playbook is arguably the most technical, but perhaps the most important: data signals. The old way of judging success was looking at keyword performance metrics. You looked at the click-through rate of specific words to decide what was working. What is the new way?
The new way requires recognizing that the AI is hungry, and you need to feed it. You must stop relying solely on granular keyword metrics, because those metrics are becoming less relevant and, frankly, harder to see. Instead, you start feeding the system rich, first-party data.
Let's define first-party data in this context for our listeners, just to be crystal clear. What exactly are we giving the machine?
We are talking about data you legally and directly collect from your customers. The most powerful example is your customer match lists. This means securely uploading your actual CRM data lists of email addresses or phone numbers of people who have already bought from you, especially your highest value customers.
Why does the AI need that list?
Because the AI needs a target to aim for. It needs high-quality data to learn exactly who your ideal customer is, what their profile looks like, and what their digital behavior is. Once you feed it that list of past buyers, the AI can analyze their shared characteristics and go out into the wild to infer the intent of millions of similar people. You are essentially training the engine.
You're showing it what a win looks like.
Yes, you're saying, here's what success looks like. Go find me more people with this exact intent profile. If you don't feed it this first-party data, the AI is guessing. If you feed it rich data, it becomes a laser-guided missile.
That brings up a critical warning from the source material. It's a massive threat hanging over the industry if you choose to ignore this playbook and stubbornly stick to your old skags and exact match types. We need to talk about the threat of exclusion regarding AI overviews.
This is where the landscape of the internet itself is shifting. We're seeing the rapid rise of AI overviews. These are the AI-generated conversational paragraph-style answers that are increasingly appearing at the very top of Google search results, pushing traditional blue links and standard text ads further down the page.
Right. It's the box that tries to answer your question immediately so you don't even have to click on a website.
Exactly. And the source material is explicitly clear on this point. Google is integrating ads directly into those conversational AI overviews. However, if you stick to old-school restrictive match types, you will literally be locked out of appearing in those new placements. The system will simply bypass you.
That is a staggering implication.
It really is. You have to play by the new intent-based rules using broad match, using PMX, feeding it data, or you will forfeit the most valuable new real estate on the internet. You will be relegated to the bottom of the page fighting over scraps of explicit keyword searches, while your competitors capture the high-intent users up top in the AI overview.
Adapt or disappear from the top of the page. That is a stark reality. But I want to make sure we keep this deep dive entirely grounded. We are moving into the next phase of our discussion, the real-world challenges. Because listening to this, it sounds like AI is a magical money-printing machine. Just turn on broad match and let the AI find the buyers. But we know it is not that simple. We aren't just going to cheerlead for Google's algorithms here. We need to rigorously address the very real friction and the genuine problems advertisers are facing with this new system. It is far from perfect.
It is absolutely far from perfect, and anyone managing a budget needs to be brutally honest about the current gaps and growing pains. The first major challenge the source highlights is what they call the reporting black box.
Transparency is taking a massive, unprecedented hit, isn't it?
A historic hit. Historically, PPC managers loved Google Ads because it offered unparalleled visibility. You knew exactly what you paid, exactly what search triggered the ad, and exactly what the user did next. But as the system shifts to AI inference, that visibility is fading. Currently, professionals cannot easily separate out the reporting data to see how their ads are performing specifically within those new AI overviews versus how they are performing in traditional standard search placements. The data is blended together into one opaque metric.
So if I see my cost per acquisition suddenly spike, I can't necessarily drill down and say, it's because my ads are showing up in irrelevant AI overviews. The system won't let me see that level of detail anymore.
Precisely. You lose that granular diagnostic visibility.
Yeah.
You have to trust the machine more. You have to look at the macro business results, total revenue, total leads, rather than micromanaging the individual placements. And that loss of control is inherently deeply uncomfortable when your job or your client's budget is on the line. It requires a massive leap of faith.
That leap of faith is especially terrifying for smaller businesses, which brings us to the second major challenge highlighted in the source. They refer to this as the scissors gap. Let's define this concept thoroughly because it is a crucial warning for anyone managing smaller accounts or local business campaigns.
The scissors gap is a brilliant metaphor for the growing disparity between large enterprise advertisers and smaller, localized ones in this new AI-driven landscape. Remember how we just discussed that the AI needs to be fed massive amounts of first-party data to learn and optimize?
Yes, the training data.
Right. Well, smaller budgets are struggling immensely with this. They simply do not generate enough data volume. They don't get enough daily clicks, and more importantly, they don't get enough daily conversions to properly train the AI engine quickly.
Let's make this visceral. Walk us through a scenario comparing a small player to a massive corporation.
Let's go back to the pool example. Imagine you have a local, family-owned pool cleaning business in Phoenix, Arizona. They have a budget of $50 a day. They might get 2 or 3 leads a week. That is a tiny trickle of data. Now compare them to a massive national pool supply chain spending $50,000 a day and generating hundreds of sales an hour. The national chain is feeding the AI an absolute fire hose of rich, high-quality conversion data. The AI learns exactly what the national chain's ideal customer looks like in a matter of hours.
While the local guy's campaign is still stumbling around in the dark for a month, trying to figure out what a good click looks like.
Exactly. This puts the smaller business at a distinct structural disadvantage. The system inherently favors the player with the most data. The blades of the scissors are opening up. The top blade represents the efficiency of large corporations, and the bottom blade represents the struggling small businesses. The gap between them is widening.
So if you are that local pool cleaner or an agency representing them, you cannot just flip the switch to broad match and hope for the best. You will bleed cash. You have to be exponentially more strategic with the high-quality first-party data you do have. And you have to set very strict guardrails because you don't have the sheer volume to rely on the AI sorting it out quickly.
That is exactly right. And that leads directly into the third major challenge advertisers are facing, which revolves around having difficult conversations about performance. We need to talk about managing ROAS expectations. ROAS, for those unfamiliar, being return on ad spend. How does this shift to intent fundamentally alter the metrics we report to our bosses, our CFOs, or our clients?
It requires a major, sometimes painful recalibration of expectations, doesn't it?
It really does. Think about the mechanics of the funnel, because these new intent-based placements, like catching the user searching "why is my pool green," often capture people much higher up in the purchasing journey. Those users are further away from pulling out their credit card. They are in a discovery or troubleshooting phase. They're asking why. They're not yet typing buy.
Right. If I only ever bid on the exact keyword buy algicide near me, the people who click that ad are highly motivated. My conversion rate is going to be incredibly high, and my immediate return on ad spend is going to look fantastic on Tuesday afternoon. But the total volume of people searching that specific phrase is tiny.
Exactly. You are fighting over a tiny pond of highly motivated buyers. Now, contrast that with the intent-based approach.
Yeah.
If the AI allows you to catch everyone asking, "why is my pool green?" the volume of traffic you receive is absolutely massive. Your future pipeline of potential customers swells significantly. However, because many of those people are still a few days away from buying, your immediate day of conversion rate will be lower, and your day of ROAS is going to look worse.
This is a crucial communication challenge for professionals. You are trading a small, hyper-efficient but stagnant pool of immediate buyers for a massive, slightly less immediately efficient, but ultimately much more scalable and lucrative pipeline.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
And you have to educate your stakeholders on that trade-off. You cannot evaluate the success of an intent-based campaign on a 24-hour time horizon. You have to look at the blended return over 30, 60, or 90 days as those upper funnel users finally mature and make a purchase. If you panic because Tuesday's ROAS is low and you turn the campaign off, you are sabotaging your own pipeline.
Which brings us to our final, highly operational phase of the deep dive. We've talked about a massive paradigm shift. We've outlined a radical new playbook that requires giving up control. We've exposed the risks of the reporting black box and the scissors gap. The natural human reaction to all of this information is overwhelming panic.
Pure panic.
But the source material is adamant on this next point. They explicitly warn against logging in tomorrow morning and rebuilding your entire account from scratch.
That would be a catastrophic mistake.
Yeah.
You cannot rip the foundation out of your house all at once while you are still living in it. The key to surviving this transition is deliberate, measured experimentation. The source outlines a very clear, simple, and low-risk path forward. They propose a highly controlled microtest plan.
Let's break down that microtest plan step by step so our listeners have an exact checklist to follow. Step 1 is selection. The guidance is to pick just one existing campaign.
Right. And you have to pick the right one. Do not touch your absolute best performing campaign. The one paying your mortgage, leave it alone. And conversely, don't pick your absolute worst campaign that has historical performance issues. Pick a solid, stable, middle-of-the-pack campaign that has consistent baseline data.
Okay, we have our middle-of-the-pack campaign isolated. Step 2 is strategy.
Step 2 requires stepping away from the keyboard. Sit down with a whiteboard and literally map out the actual human goals behind that specific campaign. What are the underlying problems those specific users are trying to solve? Force yourself to get completely away from the keyword lists and focus entirely on human intent. Write down the jobs they're hiring you for.
Step 3 is where we touch the settings. Take that one isolated campaign and transition a portion of it to test broad match.
But do it in a strictly controlled, limited experiment within the platform. Google has built-in experiment tools that allow you to split traffic 50-50 between your old setup and the new broad match setup. Monitor it obsessively. Watch the search term reports. See how the AI begins utilizing query fanout to bring in new types of queries you never would have thought of.
And finally, step 4 brings it all together with the creative. You cannot send this new intent-based traffic to your old spec sheet landing page.
Exactly. You must rewrite just one single landing page attached to that specific experiment.
Yep.
Overhaul the copy. Change the headlines, the images, the layout to focus entirely on answering the why and the how instead of just aggressively listing the what. Focus relentlessly on validating the user's problem and demonstrating your solution.
That is a manageable, sane approach. Small, deliberate steps. You are taking one campaign, running a split test, and using it to train the AI with your rich data without betting the farm and risking your entire quarterly budget. You learn how the machine behaves in a controlled environment.
It's the only safe way to do it.
Okay, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, navigating one of the most significant shifts in the history of digital advertising. We promised you no fluff and straight facts. Here is the ultimate bottom line summary, the 3 most critical takeaways you need to walk away with and implement right now. Number 1, the hierarchy has flipped. Keywords have been officially demoted. They are no longer the blueprint, they are merely building materials. User intent, combined with AI inference mechanics like query fanout, are the new master architects of search advertising.
That's the core of it all.
Number 2, you must adapt your tactical playbook and you must do it quickly. You have to learn to safely embrace broad match, leverage automated campaigns like PMX, and completely rewrite your landing pages to focus on solutions rather than features. If you stubbornly refuse, you face the very real threat of being completely excluded from the prime real estate of the new AI overviews.
Adapt or die, basically.
And number 3, proceed with caution. Do not panic, and do not rebuild your entire infrastructure overnight. Start small. Implement the microtest plan on a single campaign to train the AI with your high-quality first-party data while carefully monitoring the results.
And to close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought that builds on everything we've discussed today. We've spent this entire time talking about how to adapt your ads to this new AI logic. But think about the broader implication for the internet itself. If Google's AI becomes so advanced that it perfectly anticipates a user's need based on a conversational query, and it delivers the exact solution directly in an AI overview, what happens to the concept of a website?
That's a scary thought.
It is. Are we moving toward a reality where users never actually click through to a landing page at all? And if the transaction eventually happens entirely within the AI interface, is your business structured to survive when your website traffic drops to 0, but your AI-driven sales need to double? This shift to intent isn't just a new marketing tactic. It is a completely new lens for how businesses interact with humans. When you look at your overall business model tomorrow morning, ask yourself, are you looking through the right lens?
That is a phenomenal question to leave lingering, and a perfect place to end. Thank you for your time today and for taking this deep dive with us into the mechanics of this massive industry shift. Remember to check out the Tech News TLDR YouTube channel for our daily video updates. Stay ahead of the curve, keep experimenting, and we will see you on the next deep dive.